hire recently, but some people have felt he's been underappreciated throughout his career. LeBron James doesn't think so. Say what?
I don't think so, but he definitely uses that. I like how he uses that. But I mean, if you're a true basketball, which is not a lot of true basketball minds and people that understand the game. But for me, I understand it. I know. Give me Damian Lillard. I'll show you how appreciated he'll be.
Start the rumors now, CC. LeBron to Portland.
No.
He said, give me Damian Lillard.
Yeah, he's just letting the people know, though. Like, he's that good. And it's also throwing some shade at other people. You can get it if you want it. You know, those people know who they are.
Yeah.
But he's got respect for him. LeBron doesn't do this like this on this level too often. So that's what made me take note. And you and I talk about all the time how much respect we have for D. Lillard's game.
Man, I'm glad that, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jenna. I'm glad he is finally getting the recognition his game has deserved. He's hidden away in the Pacific Northwest. The team's been good, but not great. This is a team that's the hottest team in basketball right now and has all but locked up the 3 seed in the West.
And Jenna, you're going to be shocked by this.
I'm listening.
He's a good rapper, too.
A great rapper.
Damian Lillard is?
Yes.
I mean, I hold my rap at very high standards. I'm not going to go over my favorite singers, rappers.
Good job. He is one of the best athlete rappers we've ever seen. Ever seen.
I can't tell if you're, sometimes you're joking
100%
around
serious.
with me. All right.
No.
Download
He's very good at
songs.
it. Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Better
Put
than
it on your
Le'Veon Bell?
Spotify, Jenna. By 2 standard deviations, better than Le'Veon Bell.
That seems like a lot of things. Time for some stories to start your morning. It is March Madness, which means heroes are made, hearts are broken, and brackets are busted. Yesterday, 4-seed Arizona lost to 13-seed Buffalo by 21 points. Arizona held to just 11% from 3. Nick, what do you make of the Wildcats losing?
Man, shame on me for believing in a Sean Miller coach team. Shame on me. At Xavier, making the Elite Eight was an accomplishment. At Arizona, only making the Elite Eight ever, now that's a disappointment. And I should have followed the trajectory. Last 5 years, Elite Eight, first-round exit, Sweet 16 exit, and now another first-round exit. DeAndre Ayton needed the ball more, but also, this was a 2-point game at the half. That's a game where the mid-major Buffalo was excited at the half. Arizona should be pissed. Pardon my language, I apologize. Come out in the second half and beat them down. Instead, they got beat down in the second half. That's an unacceptable, the way they lost, unacceptable for Arizona.
Typically, when your sports broadcaster brings profanity into it, it typically has to do with them losing some money. I'm just saying. All right? Buffalo is an underrated program, but this is a distracted Arizona program. Rightfully so. I mean, they're under investigation with the FBI. The coach is under investigation. The whole team seemed distracted, and right after the game, 2 of the stars said that they were going pro early. That's a team not focused on the NCAA tournament and Nick Wright's money.
You know me too well, man. Yeah. A grip of money, Arizona.
That's a money yell.
Nick, that word cost us 10 grand.
Yes.
Another big game went down
that
yesterday.
That game cost me 10 grand.
When Oklahoma was knocked off by Rhode Island, freshman sensation Trae Young scored 28 points, but in the end it wasn't enough to keep the Sooners' season alive. We all watch this. As a reward for their stellar performance, Rhode Island gets to play Duke next Saturday. Good luck, boys. Let's talk Trae Young. CC, do you think he'd be better off coming back for another season or going pro?
I do believe his game could still use some work. He can develop his jump shot even more just by better shots. He would be a better shooter playing college basketball next season. Defensively, he's a liability. Like I don't see any point guard in the NBA that he can stop. So is he ready for the NBA? No, he's undersized. He's under 6 foot. He's not Steph Curry shooting the ball. He's not the height of Steph Curry. And, I mean, Steph stayed in college.
Steph stayed for 3 years, and it took him another 3 years as a pro before he became superstar Steph Curry. I mean, Steph's 30 years old now.
Yes.
Only been a superstar in this league for a few days ago because they had the party. Only been a superstar in this league for the last 4 years. Now, I will give Trae this credit. This Oklahoma team was terrible just last year. In the game yesterday, you could see in the few minutes he went to the bench in the first half with foul trouble, that offense grinds to a halt. So one of the reasons he has taken some questionable shots is because a questionable Trae Young shot is a higher percentage typically than a good shot for some of his teammates. but I don't know how that game flies in the NBA. How would Steph Curry's game fly if Steph wasn't the greatest shooter ever? How would pulling up from 34 feet repeatedly fly if you're shooting 34% instead of 44% from three? I think he probably could use another year, but when you're a locked top 10 pick, you typically go pro that year.
All right, friend of the show, Jay Wright led Villanova to a big win over Radford yesterday. Nova clicking on all cylinders. They shot nearly 60% from the field. They were in control for the whole game. It's great news for me. I've got Villanova in 116 of my bracket.
I got bad news for you, Jenna. I got Villanova in my 1 bracket, so they probably about to hold this L too. But I hope I'm wrong. I love, listen, Jay Wright's a friend of the show. Villanova, aside from Virginia, has been the best team in college basketball this year. Good veteran leadership that has won a championship. Really good point guard play. They had all 5 starters in double figures last night. They handled their business as a 1 seed. Kansas, the other 1 seed, they were a little creaky for about 30 minutes against Penn. Villanova ended this game 8 minutes in.
Yeah, Coach Wright's done a great job, too, of listening to the assistant coaches. They're making adjustments, offense and defense. I'm his dress coach, so I told him no tie bar at the Big East. When he came into the studio, he went with no tie bar. They win the Big East.
They're undefeated post-tie bar?
No tie bar. So last night, I love the suit, Coach. I love the contrast in the tie and the shirt.
But what did you love the most?
Oh, no tie bar. I love winning. I love winning. All right, so follow that up, Coach. All right, tomorrow.
And finally, the injuries keep piling up for the Warriors. Kevin Durant is questionable for tonight's game against the Kings. He's got sore ribs. Clay, Steph, they've already been ruled out. Golden State trails the Rockets by 2 games with 14 to go, and on top of that, Houston holds the tiebreaker. It's starting to look like that 2 seed is a lock at this point. So, Nick, how vulnerable will the Warriors be if in the playoffs if they don't have their stars healthy?
Right. So I think a healthy Golden State team could lose to Houston, especially with Houston having the 1 seed. A fully healthy Golden State team could lose to Houston. So the reason we're discussing this is the question is, if they are missing one of their guys, will they even get to Houston? Right? Could they be beaten before Houston?
Yes. And I think for full disclosure and kind of a roadmap, when we started this season, you breaking down Golden State, there's 60 extra games in the playoff. We haven't seen a team do it over a 4-year window. Given that Paul George and Melo had come to the West, we knew Houston added Chris Paul and some other pieces. So we said at the beginning, we're concerned about injury because this window, we haven't seen it. They've been very lucky. And also, this is probably going to be their toughest time getting to the finals. So we were saying that before the season started, and then now.
And that was before we knew Houston was going to instantly gel, was going to race out to the 1 seed and basically hold serve there, except for the couple weeks when Harden was injured. And so the point that I want to make is this. I think what they're, obviously, Clay's got a slight hairline fracture in his thumb, so he has to be out. Kevin Durant, they are being cautious. Draymond Green, they are being cautious.
Steph, they might be cautious
Steph,
too.
they are being cautious, but you have reason.
But it's more serious.
Right. It's more serious, and you have reason to worry about it recurring. Right now, like, San Antonio's tied for the 7 seed. Like, if you have San Antonio with Kawhi coming back in round 1, Portland in round 2, you need a fully healthy roster. Like, so the injury that I am concerned about is Steph Curry. I'm not worried about him being rusty. I saw him miss a game in the playoffs, miss a few games, come back, score 17 in overtime, and declare I'm back a few years ago against Portland. Not worried about rust. I am worried about that ankle injury recurring because they will not, I will tell you this much. If Steph Curry sprains his ankle in the postseason, they will not make him play through that. They will not risk the long-term stability of their franchise player's ankle, who they have under a max deal, because they need him. He's too important, and that injury has too much history where they're concerned about its long-term future. So that's the thing is, we have to give Portland enough respect to say, if Golden State's coming in wobbly, maybe they could beat them.
And the thing it does is, people in Golden State might not call it a successful season beginning of the season, if they had lost to Houston in the finals. All right? But now, because these injuries, we gotta start walking it back to, wow, can they get Nick Wright? Can they get Gott in the second round or before they get to the finals? I believe that
Conference,
yeah. So that's what to me is more in the play now. That now these other rounds become even tougher. We thought it would be the toughest run that they ever went on. I mean, last year they went through the playoffs so quick. They lost sweep,
and then one game to Cleveland.
Right. So now those other series, I just believe those to be far more vital, far more taxing, and it brings into the question, wow, can they lose these series? Which
This is a
yes.
team with 4 All-Stars, 4 potential future Hall of Famers
Yes.
on it. You're telling me that if you maybe take one out or one is not 100%, that 3 can't get themselves through the Western Conference?
I believe that they could get to the conference finals with any one of those guys missing, except for Steph. Now, CC, I know, thinks that all 4 are very, very critical to them. I don't think they could win the title necessarily without one of those 4. I think they could get to the conference finals without one of those 4, unless that one is Steph. We've seen this year, they're a good, not great team when Steph Curry's out of the lineup. He is the key that unlocks everything they do.
All right, we'll go back to some football now. Kirk Cousins arrived in Minnesota yesterday with 84 million reasons to be happy. That's the number of dollars coming his way. Cousins made every start last season, threw for more than 4,000 yards in each of watch the camera. Watch the camera.
Oh, yeah.
In each of the past 3 seasons. To add that kind of production to a team that made it to the NFC Championship last season is what Vikings fans hope will get their first Super Bowl appearance in over 40 years. Here's Kirk Cousins.
You know, I look forward to playing here. As, you know, Rick said yesterday, you know, this is a lifetime deal. You know, that's the goal. You know, yes, it's a 3-year deal, but the expectation is from both sides that, you know, we'd raise our kids here and that, you know, if everything goes as planned, that I'd be here a long, long time.
CeCe, what do the Vikings need to do to consider the Cousins signing a success?
They need to win it all. I mean, you're talking about the franchise that I love, my heart, I bleed for the purple. What they did for my career and for my life, man, this is my team. But the expectations are real. With that $28 million guaranteed, man, we need a Super Bowl. We got a good team. We have a playoff team, regardless of who they have at quarterback. Case Keenum had a great year. That gets him to the NFC Championship game. Now, Teddy suffered plenty of injuries. Sam Bradford, they had him filling in, suffering injuries. They were still a playoff contention team. They were absent of a quarterback. The Wilf family, that being Ziggy and Mark, they grew up in New York City, grew up in Jersey, being New York Giants fans. They never thought they'd be able to own the New York Giants. The opportunity came, and they were able to put their money down, their life savings down, their family's wealth down on the Minnesota Vikings. And since they've come there, they've transformed that team. They've gotten a new stadium that other owners could not get done in the state of Minnesota. They just opened 30 days ago a state-of-the-art training facility and practice facility, a new office space. So they are successful. We're going to run out of breath before the Wilfs run out of money. And they are committed to their coach in Mike Zimmer, their general manager in